This is Yeri, host of Arcane Threads, exploring philosophy, astrology, and ancient wisdom. Today's guest is a very interesting speaker, Tony Sayers. Welcome to the show, Tony. Would you like to introduce yourself and share a bit about what you're known for those who are new to your work?
Yeah, hi, Yeri. Well, thanks, first of all, for inviting me onto your channel. It's good to reach new people, and yeah, thanks to your audience for listening in. But yeah, I mean, oh God, how would I describe myself? Lately, on my channel, I've been joking around saying that I'm just here kind of delivering shit sandwiches for people. I don't know. I don't know if you want to cut that out on your channel, but I'm pretty much straight talking and shoot from the hip. And that's kind of what it's like. It seems to be my role, or that I just seem to be delivering these pieces of information that really, I guess, don't really make people feel good, but they kind of need to hear. I'm kind of like, you got like two types of friends, haven't you? You've got the friends that will tell you just what you want to hear, but it's not really what you need to hear. And then you got the friend that's really got your back and will call you out on your BS, and you won't like it at first, but eventually you'll be thankful. And so I guess I'm kind of like the second category. I'm telling people what they need to hear rather than what they want to hear. And of course, my channel is a lot about exposing like new age concepts. This kind of like fake spirituality, that what I refer to is the second layer of the matrix. It's the next strand in the web. And yeah, people are waking up and then falling into all of that, and it's all one big cul-de-sac. And of course, it feels good for people, and it's all love and light and angels and guides and all that stuff. So people, obviously, when they hear what I've got to say, that triggers them. And I kind of like pulling the pillar away from a lot of people that are leaning into that stuff to help them cope with this realm that we find ourselves in, that we didn't ask to be here, yet we're here.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And of course, like the new age spiritual scene it's copium, it's hopium, and it's copium, and it's there to help people cope with this place. And if people can think that they've got a team of guides or angels and all that stuff, and they don't need to look at any negatives, and they can just accept, then of course it's the easy route. And it makes them feel good. And of course, what I say is it's not long lasting. It's a trap, basically, because if you keep going along with all of that stuff, you're going to end up in a cul-de-sac. There's going to be a rug pull, and that can extend to what happens when we pass over with the kind of false light tunnel and the masquerading entities, reptilian demonic entities that will masquerade as your guide, or grandma, or whatever you were into in your physical life. And then before you know it, you're in a life review and they're hooking you back round and wiping your memory, and you're back down here again. So it's so important, really. It cannot be understated how important it is, despite how triggering what I say is, that people try just move through this new age, new cage, because
Somebody's got to do it.
yeah,
You
yeah,
give it to people straight, without all the BS, without all the fluffy bunny stuff.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's just my nature anyway. It's weird. My name, when you put the back ends of both my names together, it kind of reads naysayer. And and if you read what a naysayer is, it's literally someone that just calls out stuff and tells it how it is. So there's kind of like some synchromysticism even around my name. So it seems to be that whatever happened to me, I was kind of born to kind of do this role. Not to say that it's my mission, like they tell you in these NDEs, all these missions that people have. But yeah, they just, there seems to be something that I'm supposed to do. And I don't know. I think I've got a very dry, sarcastic sense of humour, being a Brit as well. and I find a lot of this stuff, low key quite funny. Just
Definitely.
and it really just helps me bring that out, and I think I can kind of make it a little bit more palatable for people. These shit sandwiches.
Definitely. I find it very valuable to help shake people out of the hypnosis of socially engineered false ideas, beliefs that have been set up for them. And uh, because, from my point of view, the New Age has become a worldwide indoctrination as part of the deceptive decoration of the New World Order. So, my question for you is, what was one of the first experiences that you had that alerted you to the New Age propaganda, and what was your response to it? And not just that, furthermore, what was your process of beginning to extricate yourself from its influences? Because I believe a lot of people are starting to become aware, but they don't know how to. It's everywhere. We're all saturated, even if we don't consider ourselves to be New Agers.
Yeah. Well, I never really was in it heavily, like some people get into it. I did do the Reiki course at one point, which I don't recommend now. That's Reiki's a false light grid that people are tapping into, and you kind of get a false high that lasts for a day or two, and then you get, the crash or whatever. Um, so I was never like heavily into it. Um, I think the first instances of where I really start to see how it can be detrimental to people's path is there's a town in the UK called Brighton. It's on the south coast. I don't know if you've heard of the place, but
Mm-hmm.
oh, you have, right? So it's like the New Age capital of the UK, and I spent some time down there. I had an ex-girlfriend down there, and I spent some time down there, and it's full of kind of the love and lighters, these people, and I found that there was like an underlying narcissism with them. Like there really is like a kind of passive aggressiveness to these people.
Big
Um,
time.
yeah, and I've really come to really understand that quite deeply now, because I get a lot of new ages on my videos and stuff, but kind of the passive aggressiveness of it, because they're not allowed to get angry with you or like they can't just say they don't like you or they don't like what they're saying, because it will lower their vibration, quote unquote. So what they do is they come around it in a passive aggressive way, and they say things like, well, one day, Tony, like you might learn like these things and you will understand, and like talking down at you. Like a lot of these like big new age preachers are just
Oh, they're so pretentious, so full of
yeah.
themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just reviewed Laurie Ladd on my channel, and she's the same. Like they just talk down to people. So there's like an underlying arrogance. I don't know what
Oh,
that
for
is,
sure.
but I noticed that with a lot of people, and I'm very down to earth. Like my dad, I think he was a big influence on that. He's from the east of London, and they're very down to earth there. And obviously, I grew up with around his influence, and I grew up the same. I don't think I'm anything special. Just like I'm just someone that just came into a bit of knowledge. But anyway, so from there, and then I would meet these people, and I remember one time I met this new ager. He had like this headband on, and I remember him looking at him in the eyes, and it was just like the lights were on, but no one was home. It was really bizarre, and I remember thinking something's off about this guy. And again, 10 years down the line, I review these people. A lot of them are like that. You listen to some of these videos, it's like they're there, but they're not really there, right? And this guy was like that, and he went to shake my hand, and he had this like really weak kind of wet lettuce handshake. And
I heard about the wet lettuce.
yeah, and it just one of the things that I talk about is that the New Age movement, this spirituality, it is demasculating. You have like this world right now, it needs more male energy. It needs more masculinity. It doesn't need men going in their feminine, which is what the new age tells you. It needs, they're already feminizing men, just like they've masculine, with feminism, what they've done with women. So they're trying to invert the sexes, and of course, you take out the male energy, then society's a doddle to take over, because the men are not standing up for anything and all this kind of stuff. And then in that moment, I just thought, wow, these spiritual guys are really kind of like feminine. And it wasn't just him. I've met many down the years, and so they were the first kind of early moments where I thought, something's not right with this kind of spiritual scene.
I can I comment on what you
Yeah, yeah,
said?
go for it. Yeah,
Since I've been living so close to Sedona, one of the New Age meccas of the world, I have seen exactly what you have described, and it's not a coincidence that all of these types of places are 75% female,
mm,
and the men, I don't know where they are. They just kind of blend in. It's a very uncomfortable feeling to be around for any extended length of time. And I know exactly what you mean about this very snobby, pretentious, spiritual superiority complex, and how they
yeah,
love to throw around this term karma all the
yeah.
time. It's like almost every conversation. It's like, can we please move beyond that now? It's
Oh, don't even get me started on that topic. I mean, that triggers me like anything. And I've had so many arguments down the years with New Agers that have said, well, like you try and say, well, what about like a child in Gaza that's had its limbs blown off, and they'll just come back and say, well, it's their karma, it's their
so
lesson.
nonchalant.
Yeah,
Like
like
they've never had a trauma in their life like anywhere
exactly.
close to this.
Exactly. Yeah, it really boils my blood, honestly. And when that's actually for them to repeat something like that and disregard the suffering like that of another human soul, a child's soul, is actually makes them actually evil themselves. It really does, because they are not only are they excusing evil, they are basically dismissing it and dismissing the suffering of that child. And they will argue to the death that child needed to learn a lesson, or it was some kind of karma. And it's just absolutely nonsensical, because we don't see karma playing out. It's karma is literally just a tool that has been invented to make people feel bad about themselves, guilt trip them, and shoehorn them back down here for another lifetime in this hell realm to be used as a battery and have their energy drained by all these entities that are feeding on us. Um, because yeah, if you can get people to believe that they need to follow this certain program, or to elevate themselves to the next level, otherwise then you've got them. And like I say, we don't see karma playing out here in this realm at all. We see all the elites that are doing what they're doing to children. You know, let's tell it how it is. They're raping them, killing them, eating them in some places. Like, you have to, with this you got to tell it exactly how it is. So there can be no like confusion, right? So when I say these things, it's very blunt, but this is what's going on. We know this is what's going on. So we have all those evil people doing all those evil things, manipulating financial markets and starting wars and all that kind of stuff. And yet they have all the resources, they have the big mansions, they don't have a care in the world. I mean, inherently, they're probably not happy at some level, but we're not seeing this karmic consequences playing out. And yet, I walk around here sometimes. There's wonderful people that are rummaging through bins. I've lived in Cambodia where there's children living on rubbish dumps. I mean, it's like, where is the karma? It's just crazy. And yeah, it's like you say, it just gets thrown around so much as an excuse for the evil that happens here, and
Hmm.
it lays the blame on people instead of laying the blame on the Matrix and maybe the fact that this realm is actually set up for suffering and torment and all the things. It lays the blame firmly at the person or the child. So it's that the Matrix gets away scot free, and it gets a bypass because, yeah, the person, it's the person's fault apparently. If it's not karma, it's their lesson, because apparently Earth is a school. I mean, that's the other one that they love, and one that really needs to be broken down because it categorically cannot be a school because we get our memories wiped. We go through the veil of forgetfulness. This is known now. There's many NDEs where this is being spoken of. So in a normal school environment, you will revise for the test, and then you will take the test, and then maybe you might fail the test, but you don't suddenly lose all the information that you've learned. But in this realm, we get our memories wiped. So by proxy, how can it be a school if you get your memory wiped? Um, and in a normal school environment, you can just bunk off or you can just quit if you're in a university or like. But here, you have to hang it out. Sometimes for 100 years, some people live for. So
Yeah. So this brings me to the next question I had for you. I read your article on exposing astrology, and as you already know, I'm an astrologer. I am skeptical, like you are, of the New Age gimmicks and beliefs. But it's often said, even in astrology, that we chose our parents before we were born, and the chart shows our karma. And so I think that I believe that I knew exactly where you were coming from with the statements that you made in this article. But will you share more of your thoughts on astrology?
yeah, so I've had a couple of astrologers on my channel. A lady called Ola Wolny and another one called Amil. I forget her surname now, but they do different types of astrology. They don't do tropical astrology. I forget. Is it Saphirian
Uh,
astrology?
Sidereal?
Sidereal. That was it. Yeah.
Like
So
Vedic system.
yeah, yeah. So that's the one that they use, and they explain it really well in terms of there is a mechanistic. Is that a word? A
I
mechanistic.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, if it's not, it is now. It's like a machine, a mechanical machine to this, and there does seem to be patterns, let's say, that it follows. But I think what they've done with which is what they do with a lot of things, is they've co-opted the real version, which they say is the Cythereal and the other one that you mentioned, with this kind of tropical and which is completely wrong. It's completely off, and yeah. So they know because it's very empowering. Because I've had my astrology chart read by both those people, and it's to a T. It's to a T. Me, I mean, everything is teacher, teacher. You're a teacher. You're a teacher. You're a teacher. I'm like, okay, right. And both of them, both people, the charts were almost identical, and both the readings. And they in the second reading I had with Amelie, she said she looked at, I forget, I'm not an astrologer, so I don't know what part of my chart, but she said this is where your potential weakness is, and it was like it's when people. She said it's a challenge, or one of your challenges is to get over the abuse, the betrayal of speaking your truth. And I forget the exact term she
Hmm.
used, but that was it. I mean, for me, that was the big thing for me, and it's still challenging at times, because when you're trying to do good, and of course, when you're doing this work, you're always going to get haters and people, agents of the matrix trying to put you down and stuff. But I'm actually a sensitive person at my
Mhm.
core, and these things cut deep for me sometimes, and that has been my challenge through my time doing this stuff. So it was so spot on, both readings, and but my point of telling you that was that it's very empowering to know yourself on at that level.
Sure.
Because what she said to me is most people, she said, the difference between with you, Tony, and other people is you've already, like, although it's still challenging for you, you've still gone through it, you've overcome it, and you're now doing you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And she said that most people, that holds them back, it can hold them back in doing what they're supposed to do. um, and but if I was one of those people where it was holding me back and I could see it explained like that, then I could know it, then that's empowering, because then I can actively work to try and improve that. So really knowing your astrological chart in a deep way like that is really empowering, because you can see where your strengths are, you can see where your weaknesses are, and it can be confirmation that you're either on the right track or maybe you need to do some work around something. And of course, when you look at it from the matrix perspective, that they wouldn't like that, because they don't want people doing true work, true healing, and that kind of stuff. And then when you take it to a planetary level as well, I mean, of course, they use astrology to do all their darkness. So they definitely don't want us knowing the truth about how this machine works. If you see
It's
what.
like the quote that's attributed to J.P. Morgan: "Millionaires don't use astrology; billionaires do."
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. But it's that from what I can gather, and I'm not the expert on astrology, but I have, like I said, I've had those two people on, and they're both very similar in how they work. It does appear to me that yes, true astrology, it's very useful, beneficial. They use it, but they've kind of like overlaid it, it seems, with this kind of tropical astrology, which seems to be taking people down the wrong path, and it's not accurate from what I'm being told. But I haven't spent. That's not my main strength in
Mhm.
astrology. I
It's
just.
it's a bit it's a bit of an old argument between the sidereal astrologers and the Western tropical, and my personal view is that they both work if you know how to interpret them. I that's just my take on it, but I understand. I respect that people have their different methods that
Yeah, and
they
like I say,
gravitate toward.
yeah, I'm not the expert on any of them, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
All I can say is from the readings that I had, um, they were very, very on point and accurate. It really surprised me.
Yeah, astrology is like that. That's why we keep coming back for more. It
Yeah,
works.
but of
Yeah.
course, the new agers, and not even new agers, mainstream people now, they will explain away all their bad behavior or someone else's bad behavior
Oh yeah. It's
based
lame.
on based on them being a Virgo or a Scorpio or whatever, and that it's being used as a kind of way to like
Eh,
bypass oh well, that's just the way I am because I'm a Virgo, or you know what I mean. It's just
It's
that's
very superficial. It's like, oh, thanks for the confirmation bias. I really grew from that. Like my own work, it focuses largely on psychic self-defense in addition to the healing arts using astrology. So this is what drew me to your work, because you are also doing energy work, but it's not the usual type of energy work. You've spoken a lot about removing chakra overlays, which, as you've described, are the energy centers that malignant forces can hook into, that can leach into in order to manipulate and parasitically drain human beings. Would you describe more about these
yes.
processes and a little bit more how you go about in removing the overlays?
Yes, so just to be clear, the seven chakras that we found that are found in the New Age, they're not our natural energy centers. They are literally a plug, like an implant, an etheric implant that allows negative entities to lock into our energy field and siphon off our energy and loop negative thoughts around our head day after day, month after month, year after year. Our natural energy centers, vortexes, if you like, are what are known as the Dantian points, which we have three of. So we have one around the third eye, where the third eye is, the one around the heart, and one around the sacral chakra. So they are our natural vortexes. The seven quote unquote chakras in the New Age, they're literally an etheric implant. And what they have done is they've made the most evil thing look like the most beautiful thing, with all the rainbow colors. The rainbow is very symbolic in their dark. We see it with the, all the flags and everything like that. But it's so, and with the lotus flowers and things like that. And people say, oh, well, the chakras have been around for forever. I'm like, well, yeah. Where has it got us? Where has it got us balancing our chakras and working on our root chakra? I mean, we're more enslaved than ever before, and we're still working with chakras. So just because they're old doesn't mean they're great. Just because they've been spoken about for centuries. I mean, a lot of the things that enslave us have been spoken about for centuries. We have this idea that because something's old, then it's somehow got to be true or something. But I think we're living in times where we need to be questioning absolutely everything, even things that are quote unquote old. And it was interesting because when I lived in Asia, I taught English for a while, and I taught a lot of Korean and Japanese, and they have a very much respectful of their elders culture. And I would listen to the brainwashing that they were repeating from what they'd heard from their grandfather and their grandfather's and it just epitomized to me that just because these concepts are passed down, over hundreds of years, it doesn't mean that they shouldn't be questioned. And the chakras being one of them. So the chakras is just one etheric implant of many, many, many implants that we have. We have implants all over us in different organs. For example, the heart would be very targeted. They target the heart with a lot of etheric implants because they don't like the expansion of the heart. It's not good for their low vibrational, low frequency reality that they want. They target the head quite a lot, the brain, because they want to get out at our cognitive functioning and our memory and all of that kind of stuff. So it's not just, people focus on the chakras as being an etheric implant because it's the most well known, but there's so many other implants that we have that affect us. And so what happens is where you have a physical brain, you have an energetic brain, physical heart, energetic heart. It's at the energetic level that we're being implanted, which then affects us in those areas physically. And a lot of the implants that we're seeing now come through, like Elon Musk with the NeuroLace, the NeuroNet, all those kind of implants, they're already there in the astral. We're just seeing it play out now in the third dimension. So a lot of the implants that I remove, they look exactly like those kind of Elon Musk looking things. And so that's basically what we're talking about there. These implants and these entity attachments are attaching themselves to our energy body in the astral, and then that they manipulate and that affects our physical experience. And so that's what I'm removing when I'm doing energy work. I call it shit shifting. It's like, it's not glamorous. It's like coming to your house, taking the trash out, basically. So I remove as much trash as I can. I've been doing it 10 years now, and the more I've been doing it, the more stuff that I've found. And it's crazy that the level of energetic hijacking. But it goes to show like how powerful we are, because without, left unchecked, without all this interference, our energy would be so expansive, their frequency wouldn't be able to cope with humans untouched in the way that they do. So yeah, and you remove this stuff, and your thoughts become clearer, your mind becomes quieter, especially when you remove the chakra overlay, because like I say, they have many weapons, but that is one of their main weapons. That they rely a lot on the chakras. So yeah, when that specific implant is removed, there is a quietness of the mind that's often reported. It's certainly something that I felt, and was the main reason I wanted to learn how to do that, because it was just like night and day. You don't realize how many thoughts are not your own during the day. It's literally so many of our thoughts are inorganic. They're either coming from these entities, or these implants. So voice to skull technology, voice of God technology, mind control technology, that's all there in the astral as well. So the more of this junk that you remove, the more quieter your mind, the more lighter your energy, the more expansive your energy, and so on and so forth.
What sorts of methods do you suggest to people for avoiding further entanglements where, they're gonna have their chakras, hooked into again, or for avoiding psychic attacks, siphoning of energy, or what is now termed psychic vampirism? Is there a certain technique, or is it just remove these overlays and then that
Yeah, I
takes
mean,
care of most of it?
the best form of defense is attack. So learning how to manage your own energy, clearing your own energy. Energy training is important for everyone. Obviously, they don't teach it at school for obvious
Mm-mm.
reasons. And then when you get to a certain age, it becomes taboo to talk about these things. Like, what? Entities? What are you talking about? You're crazy. Etheric implants? You're crazy. So yeah, I mean, like, you're never going to stop. You're never going to stop this stuff completely. You're always going to be at the level. You're always going to get some level of interference. So yeah, this is why it's important to energy train and learn how to do that part of it. So
Do,
yeah.
do, do you think that animals are immune to this sort of implant, uh, this implanting? Do you think that this sort of work would even be necessary for animals, or do you think that they're even affected in the same way that humans are?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked on dogs and cats down the years. I mean, cats very much so. But cats are, they protect you in the astral. I mean, the Egyptians knew that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they worshipped cat, well, not worshipped, but they held cats in very high regard. So yeah, certain animals will have interference. There are certain, like, what I would call like NPC animals that are not kind of like source connected in the same way. But yeah, certainly like our household pets, dogs, cats, and I would say like animals like dolphins and whales and things like that would definitely have stuff going on in that respect. I mean, when you look at the nature of this realm, nature of the realm, people say, well, nature's wonderful. Nature's brutal. I mean, you look like everything has to consume something else to survive. You have animals eating animals, other animals alive. Like you look at like lions eating antelopes alive. Um, I saw I saw on my Instagram a couple of videos recently. There was one where this eagle took a goat or something off a mountain, right? And it went on to explain that the eagle flew to this great height, and you could see it flying to this great height, and it just dropped the antelope like from this massive height. This poor little antelope didn't stand a chance, and then of course it died. And then there was this other one where I saw this cat, normal cat, had given birth, and there were all like these. I'm sorry to get graphic, but I have to make the point, right? I know it's not very nice to hear, but I want to like debunk this idea that nature's wonderful, right? I mean, it can look wonderful, but it's also brutal, and it ties into this realm being a hell realm. But there was this cat, and It'd given birth, and there were like 4 or 5 baby cats, and they were pink. They were tiny, like just almost like embryos. The cat started eating them. The mother, right? And it's like I was looking at that. I was like, that's just. And there's examples all the time of that kind of thing in nature. Um, and don't get me wrong, it's nice to walk in nature, but then you've got like hurricanes and blizzards and earthquakes, and I mean, you could argue some of this is weather manipulation, for sure.
Oh, for sure.
But even here, like the ocean closest to me, there's bull sharks out there. If I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time, I could get bitten in half. But like nature doesn't care; it's ruthless. This is my point. And so when you talk of this realm being like a harvesting of loosh, like low vibrational energy, fear, suffering, pain, all that kind of stuff, which is why we have so many wars and famines and we're kept in scarcity all the time, that extends into nature because like everything's trying to survive all the time. Everything's running from a prey or trying to escape a prey. And yeah, so it's again, people want to paint this place up to be something I believe that it's not. I mean, I'm looking outside now, and yeah, the trees look lovely, and don't get me wrong, it's not all bad. Like, there's certain aspects to it, like when you go for a nice walk and things like that. But it's still brutal. If you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, or um, just this example, I was sitting out on my balcony not long before the call hit, and there was a butterfly that was flew over, and then a bird landed on the balcony, and it was looking at the butterfly, and then it went and gobbled up the butterfly. It's just like, it's yeah, it's something
Well,
always needs to consume something to survive, and that goes for our energy. That's also going on with these entities, and probably this matrix. We're powering the whole thing. We're the batteries, just like the film, The Matrix.
yeah, this topic has become increasingly popular in recent years of the soul trap. Why do you think that is? I can think of a few reasons myself, such as the transhumanist agenda, but I'm just wondering what your take is on what is it about the times. I also can say as an astrologer, I've got some ideas about that, but just what is it about these times we are living in that has people questioning their reality more than they have in what seems to be centuries?
Yeah, well, as I understand it, we're moving from Pisces to Aquarius, aren't we? And that's all about from going into knowing things rather than belief. But belief into knowing. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like I say, I'm not the expert, but I was having this same similar chat with her in another podcast the other day, and so it appears to be that something in terms of the frequencies or something is I think it's helped as well with the internet. I think that's backfired quite a lot with what they wanted to do. I mean, look at what we're having this podcast now. We're going to reach hopefully a good few 100,000 people. I don't know, but and that's going to be new ears, some of those people. And so truth is just like lies spread quicker. Truth is also spreading quicker. And I think with Soul Trap, I think if you proper do your due diligence on it and you spend time researching NDEs, you spend time really thinking about what this realm is, the entities, how they masquerade, the gaslighting with the karma, and all of that stuff. It all makes total sense. And they've made films on it. Like the best one I like is Defending Your Life. I think that's a brilliant one because we know they put truth in films. That film there, it's telling you exactly what this place is. You die, you go to the processing center, which isn't where the fake NDEs are going. They get taken to these heavenly realms and all this stuff, and they have wonderful experiences. So they come back as agents of the Matrix and tell everyone, oh, it's all going to be okay. Granny's going to be there, Archangel's going to be there. You're going to go to these heavenly realms, and people are like, oh, okay, then. Well, so when they die, they just go straight to the light tunnel. So, but real NDEs, when you really die, you go to these processing centers. There's another astral, earthly realm, like this realm where the people are still using money and things like that, even though they don't have to because they're in their astral bodies and they can use the telekinesis abilities to manifest instantly. Um, but they didn't bother doing any research in their physical life, or it wasn't available. Maybe it was difficult when they were alive. You had to really seek this stuff out. And I just think that when you really do your due diligence on this, I call it soul trick. I don't like soul trap because I don't believe we're trapped. If trapped is like we're here forever, I think we have an opportunity. So I really prefer soul trick. But when you really spend a lot of time looking at that information, it's obvious. It's really obvious that this is what's going on. I mean, look at the word solar system, luring the soul into the system. I mean, they're telling you just in that word, in the etymology of the word solar system. Um, so for me, I'm at the point where there's no doubts that what this place is. I have the background of the entities and knowing how they masquerade. I've got so many stories down the years of clients telling me that they thought they were channeling their dead dad or Archangel Michael, and then there's the rug pull or the dump in the punch bowl where they follow a piece of advice and their life ends up in a mess. Um, so I think there's a resonance with it as well. I just I've been posting a lot on TikTok lately about Soul Trap, and the comments in there are like, "Wow, this makes so much sense." Because truth is a resonance; it's something you can feel. Everything has a resonance, and it's like you feel it in your guts. And I think that's what it is. I think people can recognize it if they're tuned in enough, they can just feel it. And yeah, of course it's going to grow because if that is the objective truth, because the new ages will tell you, well, you can't know the truth. No one knows the truth. Well, that's a falsehood because truth wouldn't exist if no one could know it. There is an objective truth to everything that does exist, and we can know it. We can also get it wrong as well, but yeah, I just feel like a lot of people, especially over the last 5 years since the illness, let's say, quote unquote, that woke a lot of people up. I've spoken to so many people down the years where that actually was the thing that they needed to be exposed to actually wake them up. And yeah, so people are hungry. They're hungry for the truth, and I just think, yeah, I think it just makes sense. Really, it does. It makes sense that it just explains all the suffering and the evil going on here as well. Why we have constant wars, why we're kept in scarcity, because they're trying to siphon off this loose energy off us, and they need us to be the batteries that power this. Because I believe it to be some kind of AI ultimately.
So, what is the top thing that you would suggest for people to extricate themselves, to snap out of it, or even in the journey back home, wherever home is? Say people are getting close to that time.
Mm.
What would you suggest, or what are, it doesn't have to be just one thing. If there were three things that you could suggest to people so that they don't have to come back and do this whole thing over again in another body with the memory wipe and I don't even know what I did wrong, but here I am again.
Yeah, yeah. I'm here again as a Vietnamese goat farmer with one leg. Yeah, to learn lessons. Um, well, I mean, yeah, I think there is a process to this, and there is a grieving process to it as well, because It's what I call it's the cherry on top of the pile of dog shit. The soul trap is the cherry on top of the pile of dog. You've reached the pinnacle of the pile of dog shit, but it's still dog shit, right? So I think what people really need to do is the main thing I call it is rather than become spiritual is become sovereign. I really love the word sovereign. Spiritual has so been so hijacked, and it's not to say that we are. I believe that we are energy and we don't die. I believe that is the truth that they have shrouded the new age with, and they've peppered it with all the BS. So that's a big one, to know that you're eternal. I really feel like that. Um, but it's moving in that sovereign energy, and that means really dropping the saviors. Like no one's coming to save you. Uh, Jesus, angels, you're. This is why you're a soul. Soul means one, and of course, New Age wants to promote oneness, and we're all one, and all that stuff. I believe this now to be quite an individual journey. It's not to say that I mean, you can obviously listen to people and get certain help, but it's having that discernment. What's happening is people are just going to whatever feels good, and of course, that's not always just because something feels good doesn't mean it's true. So, but certainly dropping the saviors, as hard as that is, you really need to rely on yourself, taking accountability, becoming your own leader, being self-led, and yeah, just moving into your power, which is an internal thing first of all, and then that expresses itself in the external because the more people, and if you look at the word sovereignty, they've hijacked that word. So I'm from the UK. We have a royal family there, and we call it. They call themselves sovereignty, and we're supposed to refer to them as sovereign. But they've hijacked that word because they know it's an important word. They know that that's what we are, um, and that's what we need to move back into that sovereign energy. And the other things around that, I think, yeah, you really need to take a deep dive into Soul Trap and really doing the work, like I say, like energy training and just making sure that you are like doing like the inner work. So when you leave here, you become as solid as you're as solid as possible. And having a plan, like you need to have. I mean, I don't have all the answers, and I'm sure some of them will still reveal themselves, over the time I'm alive. But you really need to have that strong intention that you're not. Well, I'm not telling what people do. This is what I'm not. I'm not going to go to the light. I'm not. My intention is to get out of the astral because the astral, say, Earth is the prison, the astral is the prison yard. So it's just a layer of the matrix. That's where all these entities reside, all your channel beings and your masquerading entities as well. So they're my two main intentions. And yeah, so you need to have a plan as to what you're going to do when that time comes. Um, and I had a comment in one of my videos that was really profound months ago, and can't remember who it was, but it's the most important thing you can do in this lifetime is learn how to die properly. I know that sounds morbid and depressing, but if we're serious about not coming back here, I don't know about you, I don't want to come back here. Um, then we need to take this seriously, and we have the opportunity now where people are talking about this, and we we have a window, I think, of
Mm-hmm.
we don't want to get our memories wiped and research. It's in the word research. We've done it before. Research, retire. Like they're telling us that we're doing these things again. So we don't want to come back and research again. Let's do the research now while we've got the internet and while appears to be this window, um, and use that wisely.
Right. There are two world traditions that have had their entire focus on preparation, not for something in this life, but for the afterlife. And that is the Egyptian tradition and the Tibetan, and they both have these books of the dead describing in detail the different stages, different levels, and different entities that people tend to meet with. And so I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense. It's also true that I think more people should live each day as if it were their last, because you never. There are a lot of people who think, well, I can fix this tomorrow or next, or I'll get to it later, and things happen. Things happen that it's like that saying. What I think that was that a John Lennon saying, "Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans." So
Mm.
these things come up. I'm not a fan, by the way, but it's just that's a quote that I found relevant. It's like, yeah, it's true. Things come up that distract you from, doing something or coming to a realization that is truly meaningful that would liberate you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if this is the first time you come across Soul Trap and you're like, okay, well, I'll have a look into that, and you put it on the back burner, and then something happens next week to you, and you like, I don't want to be morbid, but like you say, it can happen. Like you really want to try and grasp this concept as soon as possible, and prepare yourself as well as you can, as soon as you can. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a good point, actually. I hadn't even thought of it like that.
Well, this has been a great talk today. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Yeah, just I mean, again, I appreciate the things that I speak about don't make you feel kind of gooey inside, and I appreciate people for being open-minded and stomaching what I have to say. But there is, I believe that there is like a gold nugget at the end of this. I think if if we can liberate ourselves, because the other thing to say is we are the powerful ones. They know that. It's like the Wizard of Oz. You pull the curtain behind, and you've got an old man. They're like the old man. We're the powerful ones. We're the batteries that are powering this whole thing, I believe. So we need to move like that as well, and that's all about being sovereign. So like initially it can be like a bit of a punch in the face, but once it all settles down and you really digest all the information, it is empowering, because then you can have a plan, and hopefully this will be your last time round, and you won't come back again unless you want to, of course.
Well said. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time today, Tony, and I'll be sure to include your link below. That's transcending.
Transcendingtimes.org. Yeah, that's my website. That's got details of my session and my course and things like that. And then I obviously have my YouTube channel where I talk more about all of this stuff, which is just my name, Tony Sayers.
All right. Thank you. Take care, everyone, and thanks again.